Good morning, Key Stage 1, and welcome to our second session, our second lesson of RE. Big well done for last week. I've seen a few quizzes been sent in, and I've seen some lovely Bible covers from year 1 as well, so thank you for doing those. Today we're going to move on, but before we do that, I would like us to just have a think before I share the learning question. I want us to think, what is the religion called we started last week? So I just want to give you a bit of thinking time, and I want you to have a think. What was the religion called that we looked at last week? Okay, and it is Christianity, isn't it? And the people that follow Christianity are called Christians. So our learning question today is, why are stories in the Bible important to Christians? Now, last week we looked a lot about Bibles, and you were able to watch a video on that and answer some questions about it from year 2 and design your own front cover. So well done for that. So we're thinking about why the stories now, those stories in particular, because remember our friend last week told us that there are lots of stories in the Bible. So we're going to think about today why they're important to Christians, okay? But before we do that, I want you to think about, what can you remember out of the Bible from our lesson last week? Can you remember what the 2 main parts are called? Okay, so again, I'm going to give you a little bit of thinking time, and then we will come back together. Okay, so you might have paused the video there and had a bit more of a chat or a bit more of a think if you're at home. What can you remember about the Bible from last week? I wonder if any of you could remember the 2 parts of the main parts of the Bible. Some of you might be shouting at me now, but unfortunately I can't hear you. So when you come back, you'll have to tell me all about what you know. So you might have said that there's the Old and the New Testaments. You might have remembered that there are 66 books in the Bible, 39 in the Old Testament, 27 in the New Testament. You might have remembered that there are songs, hymns, poems, stories within the Bible, and you might have thought about why it's special to Christians. You might have thought about how they think it's a guidance to help them follow God and the way that God wanted them to live. Okay, so moving on today then, we're thinking about why the stories are important in the Bible. So last term we learnt about how the Torah helped Jews live a good life. And if you remember, the Torah, this word here, the Torah was that special book that the Jewish people had, the Jews have in their synagogue, not the church, because their church is called the synagogue. Helps Jews live a good life. Okay, and it's very similar in Christianity, but obviously they have the Bible. So they've actually shared some similar stories, but there are some differences as well. And so today we're going to find out how the Bible helps Christians learn how to live a good life. So there's lots of things in there that help Christians lead a good life. Now, Jesus's teachings about living a good life were written down in the books of the New Testament. So if you remember from last week, the New Testament is all about Jesus. And the things, if you can have a look here, this is a picture, this is of Jesus and all his people that followed him and thought he was brilliant. Okay, and they were listening to he was teaching them things, they were listening, and these were all written in the Bible. Okay. So the New Testament is the second part of the Bible, and that's because it was written after Jesus was born. And if you remember, Jesus, he has a picture of what people think he looks like, because obviously we're not sure because it was from a long, long time ago, were written after the birth of Jesus. Okay, so it's much shorter than the Old Testament, and it only has 27 books, whereas the Old Testament had 39. So a few more. It was written by friends and followers of Jesus to help the first Christians understand more about who Jesus was and why he was special. So as I've just said in the picture on the previous slide, that they were the people listening to him. Jesus taught them lots of things, and they've written that in the Bible so that Christians today and before us, before Christians today, have learnt those, and they try and follow the teachings. Now, parables, and that's a type of story. Parables are stories that give an example of how Christians live a good life, and parables are what are in the Bible. And there's lots of different examples of good ways that Christians should live their life. So we are going to read one now. We're going to read a famous one, and some of you might have heard of it before. It is called the Good Samaritan. Okay, now I'm going to go through it on a PowerPoint slide, but if you also would like to watch a video on it, the link has been sent on the timetable. Okay, so the Good Samaritan. Let's go up the top. Brilliant. Okay, so the parable of the Good Samaritan. Remember, parable means story. One day, a Jewish man went out for a stroll along the road between Jerusalem and Jericho. So remember, Jewish man, he would have followed Judaism, which is the religion we looked at last term. Along the way, two bandits jumped onto the road and stole all of the man's belongings. So bandits are people that not very nice, and they take things from you. Okay, here they are. Look, he's got a knife and he's got a bat looking like he's going to hit him. The bandits stole his clothes, beat him, and left him for dead at the side of the road. Oh, and you can see here he's got lots of cuts and bruises. Wonder how this man was feeling now. After a short while, a priest walked by, and a priest like a vicar, a priest walked by and saw the man lying on the ground. Oh no, wonder what the priest is going to do. Did the priest help? No, he walked away. So he just left the man there. The next traveller to walk by was a Levite. The Levite's job was to help with the duties at the temple in Jerusalem. I wonder if he's going to help the poor man. Did the Levite help? No, he walked away. Oh dear. I hope he's going to be okay, this man here. All the people walking by him. Soon a Samaritan came along and saw the Jew lying on the ground. Samaritans and Jews usually don't get along. They had very different beliefs, which made them treat each other badly. So they have different beliefs, and that meant they used to treat each other badly. Did the Samaritan help? Yes. So even though they had differences, he still decided to help. The Samaritan couldn't leave the Jewish man to die. The Samaritan covered the dying man with his cloak. He put the man on his donkey and took him to a nearby inn. He bought expensive medicine, wine, oil, and bandages to help heal the man. Even though the Samaritans and Jews didn't often get along, the Samaritan showed the man kindness. He was a true neighbor to this stranger. And neighbor, it doesn't mean he lives next door to him, it just means he's a really great person to this stranger. Okay, so I hope you liked that story. Let's just have a little think. I'm going to give you some thinking time. What is the message of the story, and how does it help Christians learn how to live a good life? So if you want to have a think, you might want to pause the video and we'll discuss it in a moment. Okay, so what is the message of the story? Well, I think it links back to one of our learning values. And one of our learning values at school is kindness. And I actually think the message of this story is kindness. It doesn't matter who they are, doesn't matter if they're not your friend, doesn't matter if you have different beliefs from them, you should still show kindness to them. So how does that help Christians? How does it help Christians lead a good life? Well, it shows them that they should be kind to everybody, doesn't it? It shows that they should be kind to everybody, no matter if they're a stranger, no matter if they're someone at school who they don't often play with. You should show kindness to everybody. Okay. So your activities today, activity 1, if we were in school, we would act it out a little bit and have a bit of role play. So don't worry about this one if you don't have enough people at home to do so and that want to do it. But if you can and you have enough people who want to join in at home, you could be the director and you could try and act that out. And if any of you wanted to send us in anything from that, that would be great. But I understand, as we're not in school, that one could be a little bit tricky. But please do have a go at it if you would like to. The second activity, we would like you to draw a picture of a scene from this story. Okay, so it could be this picture here. It could be the Samaritan helping the Jew on the floor. Okay, and could you include a caption explaining the message of the story? So we've just spoken a little bit about the message of the story, about one of our school values being kindness. So perhaps you could just put that into a little sentence, okay? And then to finish off, if you could answer the learning question. So the learning question was, why are stories in the Bible important to Christians? I've given you the first little bit. The stories in the Bible are important to Christians because, and then you write why you think they are. And thinking about what we've spoken about today, it talks about how it helps them to lead, sorry, tongue-tied, lead a good life. Okay, so if you would like to, there is also the video of the Good Samaritan story you might want to watch, but that is your activity today. Okay, so if you would like to send them in to your teachers so we can have a little look, that would be brilliant. Right, have fun. Bye bye.